Indictments, people being arrested where there is evidence and where there are witnesses. If there are no indictments and there is nobody being arrested, and the people that have become accessories to, again, trafficking us in and handing us on a silver platter to Larry Nassar are not held to account, I don't know what today was for.
Welcome back to Wake Up America. That right there, Hall of Fame gymnast, three-time national champion and international medalist Jessica Howard, speaking after the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing this week and calling for accountability of the FBI in their mishandling of the investigation of convicted sex offender Larry Nassar's abuse case. Jessica, I know this has been a difficult, visibly emotional week for you. I truly thank you for being here.
It is an honor, and again, anything I can possibly do to contribute to make sure this isn't the future history of any young girl ever again is why I'm here.
And we appreciate that. I can't imagine having to be in that room to relive your own trauma and then listen and relive the trauma of the courageous women next to you for not the first time, not the second time, multiple times go through that period of their life that never escapes you, as you were explaining in the commercial break. What would justice look like to you?
Right now, justice or follow through from what I felt in that room and from the support we felt from the Senate, the absolute united support of the Senate, which is, I don't know if that's even happened at all in the past, however many decades. Mm-hmm. But it's a human issue, and it's about saving children, and it's very important to me now that this has all been said, this is all in the record, there's promises all out everywhere, that there is a special counsel appointed that will investigate USA Gymnastics, the USOPC, and the FBI, because we do believe it's a conspiracy at this point to cover up Nassar's abominable behavior. And he is a monster and he's in prison, but I am very tired, as are my fellow victims, survivors, that we're very, very tired of being told we're going to make it better in the future. And then they put out their press releases and their press conferences. And even though it was lovely to have James Ray there, and it was a huge disappointment that it was the Inspector General, but the Justice Department didn't even show up. So a lot of what we were hearing from him, it's well-intentioned, mm-hmm. but it's not complicated. If you harm children, if you traffic children, if you have a will to really destroy a children's soul and hand them to somebody like that, like Nassar, then you deserve to be in prison.
And that's the thing. You say it's not difficult. It shouldn't be difficult. Protecting young children should be the #1 top priority out of all the list of things we could discuss. And something you mentioned, Larry Nassar is in prison.
Yes.
That was a success. But do you want criminal charges brought along the people who let that happen for so long?
No question. And I think they fit into a few different categories. Mm-hmm. There are people who kind of turned a blind eye, let it happen, did their jobs. I'm not sure, what their involvement is or was, but there are very solid names. There are people who knew. Not only so they had to make a choice mm-hmm. to allow that to keep happening. And once something becomes willful like that, breaking criminal laws, when you're actually allowing children to continue to be fed to a prolific sexual abuser, there's no question.
And I noticed something that was powerful that your teammate Allie Raisman said. Over 100 victims could have been spared the abuse. All we needed was one adult to do the right thing. How much is your commitment just driving you to make sure that this never happens again? If one thing can come out of this, if you never get to see the justice, which I pray you and your teammates get to see, but if you don't, what do you want to do to make sure that it never happens again?
I can't speak for my teammates, but I know for myself that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here for my personal mm-hmm. justice. There's nothing I have to gain from mm-hmm. this, but I'm wrecked and I'm heartbroken every time I think about those girls. And the gymnast sitting next to me, her name was Kaylee Lorenz, and she was one of those athletes that was put in front of Nassar in 2015 during those months. And there's an enormous amount of guilt that mm-hmm. comes from if I had said something earlier, if I had said something to this official, maybe that official would have done something. And that went all the way up through the FBI, where they put those girls through those awful interviews, then did nothing with it, then lied about it, then it was covered up. And they were intimidated by USA Gymnastics. Their Olympic spots were on the line. And I think they're extremely brave for dealing with it and for what they did coming forward in that kind of public way. But I know we all have the same goal, and we just want to make sure that structurally this is secure, so a child can walk into the gym, love their sport, and just practice and be there.
And be the best of the best, as you all have been.
And, you know, whether they end up just loving it or being the best of the best, I think the integrity of the innocence of children is something worth fighting for.
Jessica, we're running out of time, but I will say you talked about that guilt. We've had Sarah Klein on the show. We've had Dominique Dawes on the show. We've had multiple times people say, if I would have spoken up sooner, you were a child.
Yeah.
That guilt is not on you. And I know you know that. And it's something I discussed with Sarah as well. And it's hard to accept. But you were a child yourself who went through this, and doing all that you do with the young women in New York City that I know you're working hard with to make sure that this doesn't happen, and teaching parents what to look for, how to talk to their kids is so important. And we thank you for all your work.
You know, it is. And I was 15, and I see pictures, and I'm just like, I was so young and so innocent. But your head might know something. I know it's not my fault. But at the same time, to convince your heart and to convince your soul and to convince your gut that it's not you and you couldn't have done more is difficult.
Well, you're doing the very best right now. We very much so appreciate you raising awareness and speaking with us today. And that's all the time we have for this morning.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Jessica Howard joining us in studio today, calling for that accountability and the mishandling of the investigation. We'll be right back. You're watching Wake Up America.